Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast.
Today is the first week of one of our favorite theme months, which is Shark Month. And
This one's gonna just be more aquatic month. Don't go into the water.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of like shark movies that won't make us want to like
Die.
Yeah, at the end.
That don't make us just completely.
Yeah. But since we've had the tradition of starting off Shark Month with the Jaws movies, we are going to be doing the last one of the series, which is Jaws of Revenge, which I don't know what we're going to do next year, but we'll see.
We'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
We'll figure it out. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. So, I am slowly savoring the last bit of the Plum Deluxe tea, strawberry honeysuckle black tea. It is so precious to me, I had to make it last 2 episodes. It's got black tea, strawberry pieces, raspberry leaf, calendula, and honeysuckle essence.
And I am drinking Yogi's Women's Raspberry Leaf Tea, which just has straight up organic raspberry leaf. So I did add a little bit of sugar for sweetness. Yeah.
Thank you so much to Plum Deluxe for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So, the AC turned on. That feels lovely. It's getting warm in this room. But anyways, for Jaws the Revenge, credit to IMDb, Chief Brody's widow believes that her family is deliberately being targeted by another shark in search of revenge. Yep, that's it. Yep. So, entertainment. So, I gave this one a 7 because it's so stupid that I will watch it again, but like after great periods of time have gone by, because it's so stupid that I can't. Like, I would watch the third Jaws over this one, which the third Jaws is pretty bad.
It's bad,
but at least it's more interesting because it's got the different scenes like under the water.
But horrible effects.
But that's like, it makes it like charming in a way. But it has a lot more varied scenes. While this one, it's like, oh, let's have like the settings of Jaws 1 and Jaws 2, but make it just as terrible as the third one. So like to me, this one isn't as like charming. But yeah, they made some very odd choices with this movie. Like I don't know what happened with the actor that did Chief Brody, but he wasn't in the movie, which I feel like was a lost opportunity.
He had died.
Oh, he had already. Are you in the? Are you saying in the movie universe or in the?
Yes.
Well, I know in the movie, but I'm saying in real life, I don't know if he was alive or not when they did that. That's a
good question.
Yeah, I'm talking about in real life. I feel like it was a missed opportunity for them to have the actor reprise his role as Chief Brody. Because that would have been like a really cool like final send off for the franchise. But one of the things that they did that was just very strange is the
He
fact
was still alive.
he was.
Yeah, he died in 08.
Yeah, so they just for some reason
He
didn't have.
probably just refused it.
Yeah,
They might have asked him, but he was probably like, nah, I'm good.
which should have been their first red flag that they shouldn't have made this movie. But
Well, I mean, he wasn't in the third one either, and neither was the bomb, to be honest.
that's fair. That's fair. But anyways,
So,
they made some very odd choices, like having the mom being able to sense the shark.
yeah, that was a choice.
And then I don't know if you got the sense, but like as bad as the third one was, it still felt like a shark movie, a bad shark movie, but a shark movie. But this one, it felt more like a slasher movie that just so happened to be a shark.
A little bit.
Like especially when
Yeah, the whole
Michael,
premise is just ridiculous.
yeah, like whenever Michael is swimming away and the shark's coming after him and he's just like swimming really quickly, like we'll get to that in the realism, but like that's totally like a slasher, like stereotypical scene where the victim is like running and the slasher person is just like, or the killer is like slowly just like coming after them.
Stalking forward.
Yeah, it's just it was just freaking ridiculous. And but I will.
No, let's be fair. If given the choice, how many of us would be villains just so we didn't have to run everywhere? We could just saunter instead.
uh, um, but the things I did enjoy about the film though were it was kind of nice to see the characters older. They killed off the younger son really fast, which I was a little
They
bit
did.
surprised on. And they really made him go quite brutally. Um, yeah. I almost wonder if it was because he was asking for too much money and they didn't want to pay him for the rest of the movie.
Could be.
But it was kind of nice to see old characters come back. Um, and the comedy of the movie felt fell back into the original Jaws first and second one, where there were some laughing scenes, and it just kind of like, I don't know, it's just like lighthearted when there's not I mean, even with the shark scenes, I was kind of laughing to be fair, but um, and um, and I will say what the romance that they had with oh, I forgot the actor's name, but he's a really well-known actor. He's just a lot younger in this movie. Um, he's the guy that plays the butler and plays Alfred in the Batman franchise with uh
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Thank you. Um, but the chemistry with him and the mom, I feel like were pretty good. And I was very happy that they did not kill him off.
Yeah, though the kiss scene was kind of weird and felt awkward.
Yeah, like I don't feel like they need to take it as far as they did. I feel like they could have just made it like friendly flirting type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, like they're good friends and they're okay flirting with each other, but it's not too serious type of thing would have been kind of nicer. Um, but yeah, it's like overall, it's a shark movie that you're going to laugh at because it's absolutely ridiculous, but it's not like some of the shark movies where you want to watch it to laugh at it. It's not quite as enjoyable as that, but at the same time, it's not like Deep Blue Sea 2 where you're like, okay, I never need to watch this movie again. We can forget it exists. Like, this is a shark movie that once in a great while I'll be like, oh, I'll pop it in and make myself remember why I don't like this movie.
So I give it a 6.5.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't know if I like this one or Jaws 3 more, which is to say, I didn't really enjoy either one particularly. Honestly, I feel like if you just watch the first and second one, you can just leave it at that.
Yeah. Honestly,
And you
just the
wouldn't be
first
missing
one.
anything.
I feel like the second one on, it just gets progressively worse.
It does, but the second one is still fairly decent by comparison. The first one is obviously the best. There's no disputing that. But the second one's not terrible.
Yeah. It's like, to me, they show the shark too much, but
Yeah,
with how big they make the shark, it still
it
gives
makes sense that they'd want to, for sure.
that scary factor of like, oh crap.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
With this one, the effects, while still kind of crap, were better than the third movie, but it wasn't quite as interesting. I mean, the scenery is gorgeous. They
Mhm.
paid for that location for sure.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But that's about all they had going for it.
Yeah, as you said, I'm so glad that they didn't try the stupid 3D effects
Yeah,
again. Because no,
God,
yeah.
those were so bad. So bad.
Uh,
It was definitely a choice that they had her have a psychic connection with
yeah.
the shark. That would have been a completely random shark because they've killed every other shark in every movie before.
Yeah, and of course, like, it's a
Oh.
shark, so they can't really explain it much. But it's like, it's so random. Like, why would this shark want, like, revenge? Like, is it a descendant of one of the other sharks? And which other shark was it? Because there were multiple that they've killed.
Yeah.
Like,
And yeah. Well, also, this movie feels so different because it has I'm pretty sure the lowest kill count of any of the Jaw movies.
yeah, because it was so
It killed
focused.
two, it killed two people.
Yeah,
The brother and the random person on the boat by the kids.
yeah.
Everybody else, I mean, there was the Jake
Jake,
guy
yeah. I liked
that
him.
was maimed, but not killed.
Like, my equipment doesn't glitch.
Yeah. My equipment don't crap out.
Yeah.
So I feel like this one was a bit of a letdown, in if nothing else in that regard, because every other Jaws movie, like, there were several kills, and they were all varied and interesting for the most part, if not predictable. But this one, we had 2 deaths the entire
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. And it was so random that one of the people, the person on the banana boat, like, even died. Like, the fact that the shark was purposely going after the little girl, you'd think the shark would just immediately
Yeah.
spit the person out and then go after the banana boat.
Well, yeah, if it's going to be a vengeful, spiteful shark, but that was a call to the original movie, which I do appreciate. They had a couple of those, like the little girl imitating the dad, much like um, his brother did, Sean did,
Mhm.
of Brody.
Mhm.
And then later in the movie, after that scene in the original, Michael was in the pond on a boat.
Yeah.
An adult in a different boat that was telling them um, something to do with their sailing, and he was trying to help him out basically
Yeah.
from his boat. And the shark ended up knocking both of their things over and eating the adult, like
Yeah.
killing the adult.
Which that
So
was
that was
like,
another call.
that was one of the freakiest scenes in
Mhm.
Jaws. So
And
freaky.
then Michael was um he was unconscious for a little bit. They had to drag him out of the water, but the little girl was catatonic after. And the mom in the original had said, like, he might not ever get in the water again. He's so freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a nice call to the original, and I'm glad that they had a couple of those in this one.
Mm-hmm.
It made it a bit more tangible than the third movie did.
Yeah.
And more continuous. But the fact that there's a vengeful shark that is specifically targeting this one family and traveled from the waters of New York all the way to the Bahamas in like a day and a half.
Yeah. Like, just,
that's insane.
yeah. Like, this franchise is just so odd because, as you said, it's like the first and second movie, they feel very, like, connected with each other. But then the
Yes.
third movie, that could have been its own separate movie. They didn't have to have the same, like,
Yeah,
family.
it didn't have to be the same characters at all. There was no reason for it.
And then in this movie, it goes back to, like, connecting the universe. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
Why?
Yeah, it's just so.
It couldn't have just been a weird thing that happened. Was you found a great white in the Bahamas where there should not be great whites? So, yeah.
Yeah.
It just felt weird and a little forced there. The interactions otherwise between the characters was fairly decent. I loved the interactions between Jake and Michael. They were like brothers.
Yeah, I love that.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, like the widow and her romantic chemistry, and then Michael and Jake, both of those, like, two pairing, their chemistries I felt like were great. It definitely made the movie more enjoyable that they had those.
I felt like the Michael and his wife was a little strained.
Yeah.
But I also understand that they were both under their own pressures. She was trying to finish an art piece for a big showing. Like, it was a big dedication at the beach. So it was a very big commission, and he is trying to get his PhD and trying to research basically giant snails, giant sea snails. So, I mean, it's a lot of work and research and dedication. So they're both strained, and then with his brother dying and his mom being there,
And losing
so
her
that they can
mind.
all, try to, as a community, support each other and all. It's just, and then him finding the shark in the waters while they're trying to research for their PhDs. It's all very, very stressful.
Yeah. Yep.
So I get the strain, but it just still seemed a little forced.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. Like, honestly, it's hard to find their marriage as that believable. Or it felt like if I could believe in their marriage, it was like so strained that I'm like, oh, they might not be together if they don't, like, find a way how to mend things. Because they don't really feel like a married couple.
They don't communicate like they should.
Yeah.
But also, it's a different chick than the third movie. He was at the time dating and I want to say engaged or about to be engaged to another scientist.
Yeah, it's like, what happened with that? What's the story?
Basically a mechanic.
Yeah.
He wasn't even going for his PhD at the time.
Yeah.
So a lot changed.
Yeah, I feel like they really just threw away the third movie. They're like, oh, that never happened. Yeah.
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 I feel like they kind of did.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad at, but would have been nice to know for sure going into the movie.
Yeah. Definitely makes it more confusing.
But that's what I got on entertainment.
So, for realism, maybe this is too kind, but I would give it a 1.5.
Oh, that's about right.
I will admit the first death was freaking hilarious. The fact that the shark grabbed the brother from the boat, and I don't know, just a whole scene of he's like freaking out, and then the shark comes, grabs him, and he's screaming in the water, and then after he actually gets the guy, I don't know if they did this on purpose, but it at least makes it look like the shark also purposely sunk the boat so there'd be no evidence. Like I rewound it to see if I could tell if it was the shark or not, but it's like I don't know if it was the effects, but you could see that they're purposely pulling down the boat and it's sinking real fast. So
It did sink a little too fast there.
yeah, so it's like if it was supposed to naturally sink down because they're like, oh, there's a hole in the boat, it did sink too fast. But also, I'm kind of hoping they were trying to imply that the shark was pulling down the boat because that just like instills my theory of it being more of a slasher than the shark movie because it's like the shark. I must get rid of the evidence.
No one can know just yet.
Yeah, no one can know.
Though it wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have been able to do anything for him anyway. He was dead by then.
Yeah, yeah. But the Michael mentioning that great white sharks don't like warmer waters, which I've heard that before. I went ahead and looked it up because I knew of instances where great whites were in like warmer waters. And so I did confirm back in 2018, they came out with findings. Although not that long ago, we confirmed that from tagging and tracking some great whites, they found that not only do great whites swim in all water temperatures, which I think most of us already kind of figured, but they actually prefer warm water. So interestingly enough, in like currents and stuff like that, there's these different like cyclones or whirlpools of different temperature water. And so even though they might have been in like a sea that tends to be colder, they would be in these whirlpools where the water was warmer. So it really seems like great whites choose where they are based off of like the prey that's available to them.
And the currents.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. So him blanket as a blanket statement saying that great white sharks don't like warmer waters is false.
Though, since they were largely around more shallow waters,
Yeah,
I can see where he would think, oh, they don't want to come here because most of this area is too shallow for them.
Yeah, like with more shallow waters, juvenile great white sharks will swim. Like I know along the California coast, that's where a lot of juvenile great whites grow up, and that's actually
because they're seals.
and that's like a problem for the beaches. Yeah. But the next point is you're not going to outswim a shark.
No.
Nope.
Especially a great white. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I was laughing hysterically at that whole scene.
Yeah, for real. Me too. Like I could, like even if a great white was just like being very casual and kind of swimming over to like investigate, I could still picture it swimming way faster at its very slow, like meandering than like a person.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I know there's like other unrealistic things, but they're like more specific, so or more detailed, and I didn't want to do the research to verify whether or not I was right on those hints, like the plane landing and
yeah, that seemed like total BS.
Yeah, but the main thing that I was like, oh my god, like hell no, was the fact that they made the shark roar at the end. Every time they zapped him.
And also, how about where the shark exploded when he touched the broken pole on the front of the boat?
Oh, yeah.
Like, he legit went boom
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, like their whole plan for killing the shark, I didn't completely understand. It was
I
just
mean, I was expecting them to kinda, like, spear it
mhm.
on the end of that pole, and yeah, that might have caused some structural damage to the boat because that's a freaking heavy fish. Several thousand pounds, I'm sure. But at the same time, it would not have gone boom and exploded the front of the ship.
And it's like I know they were trying to make a callback to the first movie, especially when they're doing like
The
the
second,
cut
I think.
scenes.
Well, yeah, first and second, really, because they both kind of.
Well, in the second one he like burns up and like
Yeah.
goes back in the water. But
Yeah.
he like burns to death in that one. But it's like they're just making it so
Yeah.
obvious. Just oh my god. Yeah, this movie it feels like they're like, "Oh, don't you remember the previous movies and how great they were?" It rather than it being a good movie on its own merits.
Yeah.
It's just yeah. But that's all I got for
And
Realism.
they really could have made it a stronger movie in and of itself if they took out the supernatural link that she had to the shark.
Yeah.
Like, even if the younger brother died in a different way that maybe just had to do with the water, not necessarily a shark, and she went down to the Bahamas to be with her other son and to feel that closeness, and there happened to be a great white there that brought back some PTSD, but it was still attacking other people and not specifically going towards their family.
Mhm. Well,
Then I feel like it would have been a little bit stronger.
yeah. Well, and then plus like this is more going towards the book, but it's like the original Jaws book was very psychological, and I feel like
Yeah.
the Jaws movie it still kept some of those elements. So it would have been kind of cool if they brought back the psychological nature. Like there was no shark, but the mom
Yeah.
kept on seeing a shark in the water, and she like kept on imagining all this terrible stuff happening, and it was
Yeah.
all in her head or something like that.
Or there is a shark, but they're denying it just like they tried to do in Amity
Mhm.
originally. And she's like, I've lived this. This is a shark. You need to do something about this.
Mhm.
And just nobody listening to her, just like nobody listened to her husband until he finally did something about it. Like until there was actual evidence.
Yeah,
that he
I
couldn't
if
dispute.
if they had chosen to take that route, I would have wanted them to figure out a different way to up the ante so it doesn't feel
Yeah,
like a cookie cutter of the first movie.
absolutely.
But
And
yeah,
the death scene should have been better for the shark.
yeah, the it was yeah, it wasn't that satisfactory of a
Yeah,
movie. You're just like at the end of it, you're like, well, that was dumb.
exactly. Like I gave it a 1 for realism. It just the whole thing was just so freaking stupid. I liked the callbacks that they had to the original, but I feel like this movie all around was just so weak. And it just doesn't make sense. The whole premise for the movie just falls apart. It's so stupid. Like there's so many other ways that you can up the ante and continue the story with those characters. You didn't need to make a psychic link. So, I also feel like the proportions were a little off on the shark whenever they did show it.
Hmm.
It might have just been me, but it felt a little off.
To me, the proportions seem just as off as they were with some of the other Jaws movies, but
I don't know. I feel like the first and second ones did better, and even the third one, even though the effects of the CG were just freaking awful, I feel like it still was a little bit better than
like, what
the
did you
proportions
feel
of this one.
about it was out of proportion?
Like the shape of the dorsal fin and the tail and the proximity of the two. Just like the general shape of the shark didn't look right.
See, for me, like, the shark
Even
didn't
really
look
showed the
right,
thing.
but I attributed it to it just being a very terrible mechanical shark. But but no, it could have totally been that too. That could make sense why it seemed off.
Just the whole thing seemed off and drove me nuts the entire time. Like every time they showed the shark, I'm like, that doesn't look right. Should have spent a little more time on that. A little more time and budget on that instead of the location.
Yeah.
But it is, that's what we got.
Is that all you have for realism? I'm surprised you didn't like.
The whole thing was just crap. Like, we'd be here all day if I went on about it. Like,
You're like, I want to be done with this episode.
I'm done. I'm done. This is how it made me feel. This is how it was.
For
This would have been better
for
than what they
those
used.
listening and not watching, Jess has a very angry looking shark that she's holding up.
I have my Angry Bruce plushie. This is how it made me feel.
But yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today, and I would love to know which Jaws movie you think is the most terrible and why. Like, I would love to know people's input, because it does feel like people fight between like the third one and the fourth one being like the worst, like back and forth. Like for me, it's like the third one is at least interesting enough that I'd watch. Like, I watched the third one way more than I do the fourth one. This was only the second time that I watched this movie. But
I honestly try to ignore both of their existence.
but if you'd
And
like,
just stick to the first and second ones, and that's all you really need.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But if you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
And if you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share our content. We also have a Teespring and a PayPal donate button if you'd like to support us monetarily. And our Plum Deluxe affiliate link will be down below as well. Again, it does not affect the price of the tea. It just helps us to continue to do what we love. You can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.
Bye.